What is up, people? Welcome to the #1 channel in East and Central Africa that brings you epic motorcycle content that many have come to love. Do consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you're updated whenever we post a new episode. Now today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. Now today we're going to be featuring my bike, the TNT 250, and this is a 10,000 kilometers ownership review. So I've had this bike for around 5 months, going into 6 now, and it has been for the better part of its time with me, my daily ride. I have traveled throughout places throughout East Africa, from Lake Bogoria to Tanzania, and in many more places, and I've covered about 13,000 plus kilometers as of now, and I got it when it was about 17,000 kilometers on the clock. Now I do believe I've had a good experience with it, enough to even talk about it. Right from the beginning, the previous owner really took care of this bike, and I really wanted to keep her that way. They say treat her right and she will reciprocate the gesture. I say honestly, this wasn't the bike that I wanted to upgrade to. I was aiming for the TNT 300, but fell short on cash big time, and I didn't want to take a loan or anything, so I got the 250, especially from my friend. Now this 250 is actually a lot more capable than what people assume it to be, and she's like that introverted person who isn't popular among other kids, but once you get to know her, she can really quite surprise you quite a bit. So what have I done to this bike? To be honest, I've done quite nothing apart from adding mileage. The bike came with new tires. It has the Batlax tires, both at the front and the rear. They came with a new chain, the top box rack, aftermarket frame sliders. By the way, these are the best thing that this bike actually has. A USB and a 12-volt charger, which doesn't seem to work anyway, and some auxiliary lights. You can say I was quite lucky on this one, and hopefully so will the next owner be. Now the bike is very pleasing to look at, especially from the side. Well, not so much from the front, but it does have a bit of a character. Now let's talk about the comfort that I have experienced throughout the 13,000 kilometers. Now the seat has gotten a bit hard over the usage, and it does get quite unnerving, especially during long rides, as your ass gets a bit sore, but that's just an easy fix. You can always swap out the cushion and replace it with a more comfortable foam, and that would actually last you even a bit more kilometers. Or even you can always have those aftermarket seat cushions that go on top of your normal seat. I know the adventure guys usually have that a lot. Now the handlebars are set a bit forward when compared to the TNT 300, so you do experience some back and wrist fatigue, especially if you want to always have the throttle open. Now speaking of speed, she can be quick if you know how to time your shifting well. Now the bike achieves a maximum speed of 150, which the bike can hold on for long without getting the engine crying out in pain, lest you want to risk blowing out your engine. Now you can ride for longer periods at a speed of 120 to 130 kilometers per hour. That will be on the higher rev range, not conducive for the bike. Also, the bike can heat up and die on you on the way. The bike can carry quite a load, whether it be a pillion or you have some luggage on. However, the thing that seems to haunt the Benelli is the rear suspension. Now, I've had some people complain about it, although it's always on the hush, and I've personally had to replace mine after a few trips with some heavy pillions, if you know what I mean. And seems like I was not the only one affected, rather my bike wasn't the only one affected. Also, the 300 and 302 seem to also be sharing the same default on this. Well, if you do notice the long dips and the high jump, just order a new one, or you can get even an aftermarket one like I did. Now speaking of the bike dying out on you, I did experience this on my way back from Tanzania. Before, just as I was on my way back to Kenya, before you get to Namanga, there's quite a long stretch of road that's rarely with cars, and it's always open throttle for those who've been on the road. I was riding for I think about 2 hours or so from Arusha to Kenya through Namanga at a speed of 120 to 135, and the bike died on me just after you pass Mailitisa, just after Namanga border and stuff. So I had to wait for like 20 minutes before the bike roared again back to life. That was kind of a bummer. Well, at least that was the issue. maybe if I was actually in the middle of nowhere, I was wondering if the bike died. I wonder who could have come to my rescue. But anyway, it is what it is. Now the bike likes it when you cruise at a speed of around 110 to 120 at the very max if you want to ride it comfortably, and that's not a slow speed, my friends, if you can bear the vibrations of the single cylinder engine. Now, let's talk about its overall maintenance, from fuel to parts to servicing. Now, I'm in no way a rich guy or from a rich family for that matter, but I can say with my small income I can comfortably maintain and fuel it. Benelli is quite a strong bike, and yes, it's heavy, but it's very durable and very dependable. Now the bike has covered 30,000 kilometers plus on the clock without any engine failure. The only thing that has been done that I can say it's a major thing, but it's that's valve clearance adjustment. Well, that's normal for any other bike which hits a certain mileage. You should always have your valve clearance checked. If that's not a quality bike, then I don't know what is. And lucky enough, things like an oil filter, well, you can get them from other bikes, same as other parts. I've known some people use for the sprockets, the rear sprocket especially, you can get one from the Street. They are compatible. But things like oil filter and oil, you can get them basically from any other bike. Like for example, the oil filter is commonly used from Apache. Apache is actually very compatible with the bike, and that's what I've always been using, and it's no hassle. I don't need to import from AliExpress or anywhere. The other question I do get is, does it give you value for your money? Well, the short answer is yes. The long answer, it does. Being a 250, you do save quite a bit when it comes to fuel and other accessories. For example, the air filter is just a sponge, where during service you just whip it out and just wash it and dry it and return it back. If it wears out too much, you can just even DIY yourself one. Does it keep up with the traffic? Yeah, of course. I mean, anything past 100 kilometers per hour is overspeeding, if we are to be honest, and that's even faster than 90% of the cars on the road. So how does it compare to other 250cc class in that margin of the 250cc class? Well, if you disregard the weight of a GS, it ranks actually among the best 250cc bikes in Kenya at the moment. First of all, you can get it Kenyan registered. That's like the number one reason, and it's also cheap, especially if you look into the used market. You can get them from as low as 200,000 Kenya shillings, and it's a well-established brand. And at the moment, actually, you cannot miss a Benelli whizzing by anywhere on the roads, especially now in Kenya. Now that the borders have been opened, a lot of people will actually be doing a lot of more riding. Now, any bike can be a good bike if you take care of it well. Truth be said, I have actually quite outgrown this bike in a span of less than 6 months, which is good and not good. Well, that's debatable on how you want to look at it. And if it wasn't for the lockdown, I think the bike would have been around 40,000 kilometers about ish. But I have really come to enjoy this bike, to say the least. And maybe if you're wondering out there if it's a good buy, well, if you're stuck between this and another bike, please go for the Benelli. You'll save yourself a whole lot of headaches. It's also liquid cooled, because that's one of the other good things about it. And also, sure, you cannot be able to keep up with the 600s or even the 400s and some 300s, especially the Japanese bikes. It's very hard to keep up with them, but it will take you places wherever you need to go, except off-road. Don't take the Benelli Tnt 250 off-road. That's a recipe for disaster, as you can see here. But yeah, you will make some very good memories with it. I know I've definitely had from all my trips. Those are some of the best memories that I can say that I've experienced, especially with this bike. So I really do have a nice attachment to it. Well, it will be sad to see the bike go, because I know one day I'll have to sell it. And you want something good that can still go fast, can still handle some weight, and also light on your pockets. It's also been light on my head. I mean, I haven't had any major issues with it, especially with the frame sliders. Those have been the best investment that the bike has, the frame sliders, because it saved me a ton of headaches and scratches, and the bike literally has no scratches. Maybe the Dutch scratches from mud or debris from dust and particles and such, but otherwise, apart from that, the bike is in tip-top shape, looks good, feels good, especially on the highway. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, thank you so much for listening to my love confession to my bike. Well, like I said, it might be up for sale soon or not, who knows, maybe time will tell. But so thank you so much for watching. Do follow us on all our social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and Rico the Gearhead. And also, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, guys, stay safe, ride safe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. You just don't want to damage the media converter. No, poa sana.
haiwezi anguka.